so much support. The Democratic Party rode a wave of change 2 years ago. The DPJ promised something different from what voters had seen through all those years under the Liberal Democrats. The Democrats said they would cut wasteful government spending, make expressways toll-free, and reform parts of the pension system. But for different reasons, they couldn't usher in the changes they promised. They lacked experience in leadership, and they faced some unprecedented challenges. In the end, they broke many of the pledges in the election manifesto. And at some point, voters lost confidence in them. The Liberal Democrats saw this as a chance to make their comeback. Leader Shinzo Abe said the DPJ led the country into crisis, leaving the economy in turmoil and diplomatic relations at risk. He told voters that he and his party would put the country back on track. He promised to revive the economy by increasing public works projects and creating jobs. He also promised to curb deflation and bring down the high yen. And he made another promise to take a hardline stance in his foreign policy, especially in a territorial dispute with China. Of course, none of these policies will be easy to carry out, but voters seem to have supported what Abe had to say.
Foreign media are paying close attention to the change of government in Japan, as the largest opposition group, the Liberal Democratic Party, looks sure to win a landslide victory in Sunday's lower house electoral. Britain's BBC television broadcast the results of an exit poll conducted by the Japanese media. It said the Liberal Democratic Party is highly likely to win the majority and return to power. A BBC reporter in Tokyo said Japanese voters chose the LDP as they were disappointed at the ruling Democratic Party of Japan for its failure to realize its 2009 election pledges. China's state-run Xinhua news agency used an NHK report to broadcast breaking news on the LDP victory. It said Japan will have a change of government, with exit polls suggesting the largest opposition group will gain a majority. South Korea's Yonhap news agency said the LDP's support rate is not high at about 40%, but it said the DPJ made a series of policy mistakes. It added that the LDP was successful in reclaiming power on the back of rising conservative and right-wing trends since the 2010 collision between a Chinese fishing boat and patrol ships of Japan's Coast Guard off the Senkaku Islands in Okinawa Prefecture in the East China Sea.
Turkey's former Vice Governor Naoki Inose is certain to become the new governor. Vote counting in Sunday's gubernatorial election started at 8 p.m. A prior research in exit polls taken by NHK indicates that Inose will score an overwhelming victory over the other candidates. The 66-year-old writer became vice governor in 2007. He has worked on a merger between Turkey's two subway operators, as well as management reforms of Tokyo Electric Power Company after the accident at its nuclear power plant in Fukushima last year. Inose announced his candidacy for Tokyo governor after former governor Shinzo Ishihara named him as his successor. Inose was supported by the New Kome Party and the Japan Restoration Party led by Ishihara, as well as the Liberal Democratic Party. He pledged during his campaign to continue Ishihara's